Hello dear students, this is your Jagan sir. Welcome back to our YouTube channel Physics with Jagan sir. And here we have completed successfully 11 classes in kinematics, and 11th class we were started relative motion, and this relative motion is a large topic. That's why we make it into subparts, and today we are going to see second session on the relative motion. And here relative motion in river flow. The concept name is relative motion in river flow. In river flow. See here, before we are going to discuss this concept, I would like to recall a small concept that when we were covered one-dimensional motion, there I have discussed velocity of man with respect to water, a small concept. That is velocity of man with respect to water, velocity of man with respect to water, that is capability of man can can swim in water. This is velocity of man with respect to water. And here it is actually loading, that's why I'm waiting. Capability of man can swim in water. This is what is velocity of man with respect to water. And here, let us see a small concept. The change is instead of swimming pool, here a river is considering. This river is itself moving with the velocity of u in rightward direction, rightward direction, and here a candidate is moving in this direction. This is velocity of man with respect to river. Obviously he tries to move in this direction. Initially he tried to move opposite bank of the river, so that he started his moving like this, but because of the flow of the water, instead of reaching opposite side, he reaches this point. Let us assume, right? Now he has made an angle theta with the x-axis. Let us assume this is x-axis, let us assume this is y-axis, and with x-axis, that means with the direction of river flow, he is moving in. Because of the direction of river flow, he is moving, instead of moving like this, he is reaching this point. So obviously he could make an angle of VMR cos theta, velocity of man with respect to river cos theta, and here velocity of man with respect to river sin theta. Clear? Now the next point is, see here, we need to find with what velocity he has traveled. That means here, suppose a person is present, he is on the ground, he is observing that the candidate is moving like this with the flow of river. Then what will be the velocity of man with respect to the ground, with respect to this observer, which we are going to find, right? Now by using velocity of man with respect to river is equals to velocity of man with respect to ground minus velocity of river with respect to ground. But what we need here, velocity of man with respect to ground. So velocity of man with respect to ground is equals to velocity of man with respect to river plus velocity of river with respect to ground. Right? Now velocity of man with respect to river is equals to velocity of man with respect to river cos theta I plus velocity of man with respect to river sin theta j plus velocity of river with respect to ground is ui. So this is what is velocity of man with respect to ground. Now velocity of man with respect to ground is equals to velocity of man with respect to river cos theta plus u I plus velocity of man with respect to river sine theta j. Sine theta j. This is what is the velocity of the man. Clear? With respect to the ground. With respect to the ground. Now, motion of a man in swimming in a river. This is what? River problem in two-dimensional crossing the river. That means here the heading says that the same thing which we were covered. River is having width d. He reaches like this. Velocity of man with respect to river. And this is angle theta. Now, next point is here crossing the river in shortest time. Before we are going to find time, we need to find how much time actually taken by the object to move from here to here. And next point is, see, very important point, this is the initial location, this will be the final location, this will be the final location, and how much time does the candidate takes to travel from here to here, that's what we are going to find. And by using sy is equals to uyt plus half ay t square. And here you must remember one point, until and unless they are representing acceleration on the x-axis or acceleration on the y-axis, that is acceleration on the x-axis means acceleration due to river, that is x-axis is equals to 0 until and unless they mention in the exam paper, or similarly on the y-axis acceleration on the y-axis becomes 0 until and unless they represent. Clear? Now the displacement traveled on the y-axis is d. The displacement traveled on the y-axis is d. See, he started his journey from here to here. This is y-axis. On y-axis, how much displacement he traveled? D only. Right? D. Uy is equals to, as we know, Vmr cos theta. This is Vmr sin theta. So this becomes Vmr sin theta into t plus half 0 t square. Right? Then time is equals to d by Vmr sin theta. D by Vmr sin theta. Now the condition is crossing the river in shortest time. In shortest time means see, t will be minimum, d by Vmr sin theta should be maximum, and Vmr velocity of man with respect to river, which is his capability, so it could not changes, and d value, which is the separation between the rivers, which could not be changes again. So obviously the term which can be changes is sin theta. So sin theta, if it is maximum, then the time will be minimum. So what would be the maximum value of sin theta? Sin theta maximum value is equals to 1. Maximum value is equals to 1. So minimum time is equals to d by Vmr, velocity of man with respect to river. Clear? Then next point is, they are asking us to find crossing the river in shortest path, that is minimum drift. What is drift? See here, the man started his journey from here. He tries to reach this opposite point, but because of the river flow, he reaches this point. Then from on x-axis, from initial location to the final location is known as drift. Then how can we find that drift value? Finding drift value. How can we find that drift value? Drift value is equals to Sx is equals to uxt plus half axt square. Right? Ux means here, this is ux, this will be uy, right? Vmr cos theta plus u, that is Vmr cos theta plus u into time is equals to d by Vmr sin theta plus half 0 t square. This is Sx. Sx means drift. So here the drift value is becomes VMR cos theta plus U d by VMR sin theta. Right? This is originally what is the drift value. What is the drift value? Now the condition is crossing the river in shortest path, that minimum drift. Condition for minimum drift. Condition for minimum drift. Minimum drift. See here, the condition for minimum drift means here drift value should be equals to 0. That means he has to reach exactly opposite point. Exactly opposite point. If he has to reach exactly opposite point means 0 VMR cos theta plus U into D by VMR sin theta. So here VMR sin theta, if it comes to left side, this will be VMR cos theta plus U is equals to 0, because D is the constant term, which is the separation of the river from one bank to other bank, which is a constant. So we should keep it as constant, means you can bring this side, it will be 0. Then cos theta is equals to minus U by velocity of man with respect to river. And you have to understand one most important point here is cos theta will gives positive value if theta is acute angle, and cos theta will gives negative value if the theta is obtuse angle. Now we are getting here negative value means here the swimmer should start his journey by making an obtuse angle, right? Then only the possibility is that he can reach exactly opposite point. If he reaches, sorry, if he tries to move like this, then river will pushes him in the rightward direction with the velocity of u, then he can reach the exactly opposite point. I hope you get my point. Now let us assume it is V. Now the condition for minimum drift is satisfied, and here let us assume it is equals to alpha. It is equals to alpha. Now this will be VMR square by minus VR square, which we can consider as V square minus U square, because VR I am considering as U, VMR I am considering as V, under root of V square minus U square. Right? Now the next point is, chalo. Now time taken to reach opposite side by using Sy is equals to U by T plus half A by T square. Then Sy is the separation of the river D, Uy is the C, Uy is equals to under root of initial, that is velocity on y-axis, under root of v square minus u square into t plus half 0 t square, and this will give time as d by under root of v square minus u square, under root of v square minus u square. Clear? Now we are going to solve some critical questions over this concept. We are going to see some critical questions over this concept. Number one question is, a man can row a boat. And understand one most important point here is, you are very much strong in understanding the concept. Now even if they are representing the word boat, you can consider it as a man. He is swimming in the river. So velocity of man with respect to river is equals to 4 km per hour. He is crossing a river where the current is, that is current means velocity of river is equals to 2 km per hour. Right. Number one, question A is, in what direction will his boat be headed if he wants to reach a point on the other bank directly opposite to the starting point? That means he has to travel like this, then only he can reach this point. Let us assume this is an angle theta, otherwise we can consider as usually it is an angle alpha. Right. Now this is the river, this is the velocity of man with respect to river vectors. So sine alpha is equals to opposite by hypotenuse, opposite by hypotenuse. Then sine alpha is equals to velocity of river is 2, velocity of man with respect to river is 4, which is equals to 1 by 2. Then alpha is equals to 30 degrees. Now with respect to river flow, river flow, with respect to river flow, that is river is flowing in the positive x-axis. With respect to river flow, the man started journey by making an angle of 120 degrees. This is the first point, first a bit solution, right? If width of the river is 4 kilometer, that is d is equals to 4 kilometer, how long will it take him to cross the river with the condition in part A? So according to the concept, t is equals to d by under root of v square minus u square. This is velocity of man with respect to river, this is the velocity of the river. Then t is equals to d value is 4 under root of velocity of man with respect to river is 4 square minus 2 square, 4, 16 minus 4, which is equals to 4 under root 12. So this is what is time value, time value. Then part C, in what direction should he head the boat if he wants to cross the river in shortest time, in shortest time. In the shortest time means he has to cross the river, right? Now for shortest time, the condition is the condition is sin theta should be maximum, so t by v mr. Now for shortest time, sin theta should be 1, so theta should be 90 degrees. That means he has to cross like this by making an angle 90 degrees, right? And find the time taken by him to cross the river. Time taken is width value is 4 kilometer, velocity of man with respect to river is 4, so time is equals to 1 hour, time is equals to 1 hour. And also find the location of the point where he lands on the other side of the river. So obviously he lands on exactly, right, he lands by using drift is equals to velocity of man with respect to river cos theta plus v velocity of river, time is d by vmr sin theta, and here theta is 90 degrees, so cos 90 0, so we are into sin 90 is 1, so d by velocity of man with respect to river, I am supplying sin 90 both cases. Then vr is equals to velocity of river is, oh shit, it is again loading, just give me few seconds. And here velocity of the river is 2 kilometers and velocity of man with 2 kilometer per hour, velocity of man is 4 kilometer per hour and d is 4. That means we have to substitute vr is equals to 2, velocity of current means velocity of the river flowing, right? Velocity of river flowing is 2, d value is 4 width, velocity of man with respect to river is 2, then this is equals to 2 kilometer, drift value is 2 kilometer. This is what is the first question. And second question is C. This is what is the first question answer, C bit. And the second question is, see here, a man can swim. Now I am giving second question similar to the first question because to get you to be more comfortable in solving this type of logical questions, That's why I'm again discussing similar model question. A man can swim at a rate of velocity of man with respect to river is 5 kilometer per hour, and width of the river is 1 kilometer. Width of the river is 1 kilometer, and velocity of the river is 3 kilometer per hour. 3 kilometer per hour. The man wishes to swim across the river directly opposite to the starting point. So he has to reach. His willing is to reach exactly opposite point, and this will be velocity of man with respect to river. This will be velocity of the right. Sorry. And this will be the velocity of the river, and this will be vmr square minus vr square. Along what direction must the man swim? Now this is angle alpha. As usually, again same condition, sin alpha is equals to vr by vmr. Then vr is equals to 3, vmr is equals to 5. See here, vmr is equals to 5. Then alpha is equals to 37 degrees. So with respect to river flow, that is positive x-axis, he has to move 127 degrees. 127 degrees. Right? First bit has been completed. Let us come for the second bit. What should be his resultant velocity? His resultant velocity, that means he is reaching exactly opposite side. As we have seen, this is vmr and this is vr. So this will be vmr square minus vr square, and this is what is the resultant velocity. So velocity resultant is equals to vmr square vr square, which is 5 square minus 3 square. That means 25 minus 9, 16, or 4 kilometer per hour. This is what is B bit. This is what is B bit. Now let us see for the C bit, how much time will he take to cross the river. So T is equals to D by under root of V square minus U square. This is the condition, and D value is here 1 kilometer wide, and V square minus U square is 4, which is equals to 15 minutes. 15 minutes. This is second question answer. I hope you understood the concept very clearly and the application of the concept through numericals. This is very logical questions, critical and important questions I am discussing. Now the third one is, see here, a river is flowing with a speed of 1 kilometer per hour. That is, river is flowing with a speed of 1 kilometer per hour, right? A swimmer wants to go to the point C. So suppose he wants to reach this point. Starting from A, he swims with a speed of 5 kilometers per hour at an angle theta with respect to the river flow. That means he started his journey like this, 5 kilometers per hour, and this is what is theta. Then he said that this is equals to 400 width of the river A, B, C, and BC is equals to also 400 meters. 400 meters, and ultimately when he reaches this location, this is what is its velocity with respect to velocity of man with respect to ground. Right? Of course, this is velocity of man with respect to river. This is the for the observer on the ground, right? Then this will have Vy component, Vx component, right? Now from diagram, we can say tan theta is equals to V. See, it is theta means it is also theta. It is also theta. Then tan theta is equals to Vy by no Vy by Vx. Sorry, 1 second. This is actually we have to consider as Vy. This is as Vx, right? Then tan theta is equals to opposite vector Vx by Vy, and here tan theta is equals to otherwise tan alpha. Let us assume alpha to avoid confusion, because here already we consider it as theta. So tan alpha is equals to 400 opposite by 400 adjacent. So Vx by Vy, then Vx is equals to Vy, velocity of man with respect to ground, velocity of man with respect to ground, velocity of man with respect to ground on the x-axis is equals to velocity of man with respect to ground on the y-axis. Let it be equation number 1. Now let us see what is actually velocity of man with respect to ground, right? By using finding velocity of man with respect to ground. Now by using velocity of man with respect to river is equals to velocity of man with respect to ground minus velocity of river with respect to ground. So velocity of man with respect to ground is equals to velocity of man with respect to river plus velocity of river with respect to ground. Clear? Now, velocity of man with respect to ground is equals to velocity of man with respect to river Vmr cos theta I plus Vmr sin theta j plus velocity of river I. Velocity of river I. Actually, this is one of the most critical question. Still, I am trying to give you in a fluid way, in a easy way for solving yourself also. Right? Now, Vmr cos theta plus I plus Vmr sin theta j. Vmr sin theta j. Right? Now, this will be velocity of man with respect to ground on x-axis plus velocity of man with respect to ground on y-axis, right? So Vmg on x-axis is equals to Vmr cos theta u Vr Vmg y-axis Vmr sin theta. So substitute 2 and 3 in 1. Substitute 2 and 3 in 1. So Vmr cos theta Vr, actually that is actually present in, that is actually we have solved here equation number 1. Here equation number 1, I am just substituting in equation number 1 and Vmr sin theta. So it is now for solving theta, what I am doing is Vmr value is actually velocity of man with respect to river is he swims at a speed 5 cos theta, river is flowing with 1 5 sin theta. By solving for theta, you will get theta is 53 degrees, right? 53 degrees. And again and again I am saying, first follow my concept 100% clearly. After that, solve these numericals again and again, twice or thrice. After that, try to solve these numericals yourself without aid of my solution. Once you get the clarity on the concept and solving these numericals yourself, then try to open your worksheet. In that worksheet, you have to practice using these concepts. If you clear at least 70 to 80% of the questions in your worksheet, easily you can able to crack your examination with a good score. I can promise that, because the level of the questions what I am discussing here is little bit hard questions. So once you are having clear understanding with these hard questions, then you can able to solve easy questions clearly, easily, right? So this is the end of the class, and I hope you enjoyed the class well, and we will try to come with the one more application by tomorrow class. And for daily practice sheets and weekend examination papers, you better to follow my Telegram channel, Physics with Jagan sir. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.